We discussed meeting with the insurance industry to talk about potential data they may have had to assist the board with establishing environmental hazard fee. That meeting did not turn out to be very productive at all. In that the discussion we had, I think we concluded with the position that any data that they may have would probably not be applicable or usable for this purpose. And so we kind of back where we started, which is not having any data at all or any potential sources for data. And so we're once again back at ground zero.
Okay, I think it's,
well, we're kind of not, though. We had, we had made a determination that was going to the commission that got stopped by the insurance companies.
Well, actually, it did go to the commission, but the recommendation
But
to
you
the
pulled it
commission
down.
was to pull it back. Yes, ma'am.
So, we did get that far, so.
I think we've looked at the small fee per car. We've looked at uniform fee per cars affected. We've kind of rejected or found flaws with all of those. I think it's time to look at actual costs.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, not to stop your discussion, but you get into, I guess, specific items that could have been on the agenda to talk about, and so we may be straying from the agenda.
Charles, it's a broad heading. It's discussion on environmental hazard fee. So I think that's still.
But we haven't talked about it enough. We need to talk about it some more.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we need a new approach, and I think that's the only thing to look at now is actual, and I'm talking actual spills on the VSF or preventing spills on the VSF. We can calculate that cost. If anybody's doing it, they buy the materials, they know what they're doing, and let's forget about the garbage cleanup, the dumpsters. Let's focus on the spill cleanup and see where we can get with that, maybe. I know it's a tough issue. It's not cut and dried, but the legislature has authorized a fee, and they've tasked TDLR with setting that fee, so we need to set a fee. If it blows up, we can change it. I mean, it's not, whatever we do is not in stone. We can tweak it, we can modify it if we need to, but I think we need to set something because there's not a lot of people doing the spill cleanup, I don't think, on the VSFs. That's what we found. There's not a lot of data. But if we have a fee where they can recover their money, more people will do this and take care of their property, and we will get more data. And I just think we've spent our wheels for a long time. It's time to just go down to, let's go to the basics. Let's work on spill cleanup or prevention and allow an actual fee for that with some documentation that, yes, they're buying these supplies to do that. That's my opinion.
Well, and I think that we asked for that when we first started this. We asked
Yeah, we
the
did.
industry to send information, and we got zero participation. And so
Right.
I think we're at the mercy again of the industry for people to submit information. If we don't get this, we're never going to get this fee.
We don't need the information to to allow an actual fee, because if they're doing it, they should have information.
But you're asking for the information to get a fee. Isn't that what you're saying, or am I missing something?
No, I'm saying if you have a spill, you have to clean up, and you use half a bottle of whatever chemical to clean it up, you know how much half a bottle costs.
Right.
That's your actual cost, plus a reasonable charge
More
for
akin to like the
time.
governmental entity fee where they charge you the fee and then you can charge it back. Right, it would be more akin to you would be paying what you...
Passing along your
Right,
expenses.
right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Taking care of stormwater runoff, taking care of your property is preventive maintenance. Yes, you clean up a spill when you have it, but you do a lot of things to keep from having a spill. I mean, so, and,
But
it's
if you're doing
inspection
it-
and all that. Yes, you can,
If you're doing it
Get
for the
the
whole
cost.
lot, it's hard to tie it to a car. I'm just trying to get us. a
I agree
starting
with you.
place.
I mean, well, that's what we started out trying to tie it to a car. And
We've
then.
been around the world.
We've been around the world. I mean, we're
Twice.
kind of, that was the whole idea that Charles came up with, which was a good idea, to put something in place get some documentation, and then revisit and see which way it needed to go, one way or another. It could go either way on what the fee might be. I mean, it was a place to start to bring in the industry into the 21st century and keeping and doing good maintenance, particularly in light of the importance of water and cleanup. I mean, so here we are. We had a place to start. That was a place to start that we sent to the commission, was a starting place. That's what it was. So, I mean, you can get into actuals, we looked at that. Gene?
Madam Chair, if I could offer a comment somewhat from the viewpoint of an outsider, but intended to be helpful. I'm very complimentary of the fact that the board members are very active in their industry and very knowledgeable in their industry. But I think Ms. Milstead's hit perhaps a nail on the head with the comment of responding as an industry. If from an outside viewpoint the industry fails to respond as an industry, it must not be very important. Your associations certainly are voices of an industry, or can be viewed as voices of an industry, and I would offer from my viewpoint that getting that industry input to complement the board members' experience and comments certainly would seem to me to be something that would carry a lot of weight in any vote that I might take on the matter. And I just like very much that comment about getting the industry involved. Thank you.
I want to respond to my esteemed board member. As important as the fee is to the tow company to make money, they don't respond to a fee study. We would never get a fee study if we tried to set the fee by what we get, because the average tow truck size is about 3 tow trucks per company. And they generally, this is not something that they pay attention to, and they put all their information in a box and bring it to their CPA to do their taxes. So that's the industry that we live with, who don't respond. In a study in the city of Houston, we had 5 companies total that responded to the study. Harris County got less than that when they tried to do a study. So the industry is not going to respond. One thing is, they don't trust the government, and they're not going to send you their expenses.
Well, another reason that we don't get response is because a lot of people aren't doing the cleanup. They're not spending the money on it because they can't get reimbursed for it. So, I think if we had a fee, that more people would clean up their spills. But I don't think there's a lot of people out there doing it.
So,
They have to, no.
Do you have a public comment?
No, but the problem is a lot of them aren't in compliance with TCEQ rules and regs. They don't even know it. I mean, it's the same scenario that the auto salvage dealers went through in the 80s and 90s, where they finally were put on the list, and actually some of them went out of business trying to get in compliance. And I didn't want this industry to go through that, because under certain circumstances they're required to have a stormwater permit. Charles and I have discussed this many times. I mean, if they wash their trucks or they do any mechanic work at all on their site, they're required to have a stormwater permit. And I guarantee you they don't. You're right about that.
Ms. Bass, again, to keep the record straight, you referring to the tow company, but this is a fee for the VSF, so we need to keep those companies separate and apart.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the small business who has a combination. The smaller people are the ones that, they do everything.
We do have a public comment coming up from the green shirt over there. You can fill out your form later, Ken, if you want to make a comment.
without even giving it much thought, just some impromptu comments. Number one, a large number of the cars.
Name.
I'm sorry. Ken Ulmer, Texas Towing and Storage Association, KTL Enterprises in Houston, Texas, and the chairman of the City of Houston Automotive Board. So I deal with a lot of small VSFs and tow companies that sometimes are combined. Our facility is a fairly good-sized facility, but a lot of the things that we do, number one, are related to a vehicle that's never going to get picked up. So if you've got a vehicle that comes in that's been burned and they don't have anything but liability insurance and it's leaking everything in the world, you can apply all the fees that you want to, but at the end of the day, that car's worth $129 in scrap. So it's not going to do you any good there. What's going to happen is you're going to single out the cars that have insurance and try to put as many fees as you can on those to make up for everything else. And that's what we've done in the towing and storage industry forever. We've robbed Peter to pay Paul. I believe that we need a fee per car that's a small fee across the board, and then we can use that fee accordingly. One of the things that I did just in the last 2 years was put in a scrubber on my retention pond. That scrubber, I couldn't tie to any specific car, but the whole key was there were fluids winding up in my retention pond that I couldn't let go out into the bayou. So I put that scrubber in. That scrubber was about $29,000. Can I apply that to one car? I'd love to. But unfortunately, it's a big cost that I put in the maintenance on that scrubber. You know, every year those filters have to be changed in the scrubber. Not a huge cost, but things that were done that you can't relate to a car. You can't say, this is why I specifically did it. But when my stormwater tests come back bad, I have to do something. Or I can just let it go and continue to let the problem get worse and have an environmental cleanup that's huge. Not only that, look at some of the 18-wheeler incidents that we go to. You call an environmental company out to do a cleanup on 4 gallons of oil that's come out of a car, truck, 18-wheeler, whatever, the bill could be $7,000, $8,000, $9,000.
But that's all at the scene, right?
That could be at my lot. Our suggestion is
just
that if I get a
comparing the
car in
costs.
that's leaking fuel
He's
or
comparing
leaking
costs.
oil, and I call an environmental company out and say, hey guys, I got this car that's leaking about 4 gallons of oil in my lot. Can you come out and take care of it? Sure, we can come out and take care of it. And then somebody's got a bill for, $6,000, $7,000 may be an exaggeration, but I don't think $1,500, $2,200 is an exaggeration. And I think an insurance company is going to go crazy when they pick up a car and it's got an extra $2,200 on it.
It's a tough issue.
Thank you,
Just some
Jen.
comments.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have a?
Madam Chair, Brian Francis. Do we know if there are other states that are facing this issue?
I don't think any of the other states are doing this.
Okay.
They don't have
regulations
regulations at all.
Yeah.
They're not regulated at all.
Okay, so we're not going to look at Mississippi. Okay.
No.
I did contact every other state, and I couldn't find a fee anywhere like this at all. Most of them were very confused of what I was talking about. Their environmental agency would charge the VSFs instead of the other way around.
Okay, I think there are some costs out there to be gathered. We need to gather them. I don't think we're going to get them from the towing industry. I think they're going to come from the environmental cleanup people, those companies. That's where we need to look. And y'all could put your brain to work on ideas how we could make this work. Start small. We don't have to pay for Ken's scrubber right now, but let's think about the small cleanups. Let's start small and try to figure out a fee for a small cleanup or prevention, the diaper that we talked about before, and take it small bites.
So I'll reach out to TCEQ.
I've got some information I gave Charles.
Okay.
And let's, not TECQ, but the people, the companies that do this
Okay,
for a living.
okay.
The
Gotcha.
the vendors that sell this stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the one thing we haven't done is looked at
Right.
like services by an industry that does
And
actual
I
stuff.
have talked to a few at the tow show and everything like that, but I don't know if it was exactly what we needed. So definitely, I'll reach out.
And if I think Todd made a reference to TCEQ because we have concerns about how they would perceive this fee. And so there are some other issues we need to work out. Once that fee is established, the question becomes, how does that affect your company from a TCEQ standpoint? Are you now collecting disposable waste? Those are secondary issues that we need to work through once we get that fee set. Which is why I think Tom made reference to contact TCEQ. Because ultimately, that's where we would more likely go.
Okay. Let's take a small bite. forget the scrubber, forget the dumpsters. Just go clean up, focus on that, and then if we make some progress on that, then maybe appoint a work group to take it the final step and try to see where we go with this.
If I might suggest that once we have made some preliminary contacts and gathered some additional information, that before we, as a staff, start to craft a rule, that we notify you, Mr. Chairman, to set a work group to go over
Okay.
that data so that it's been reviewed before we get to the meeting.
Okay, that sounds good. Is that good with the board?
Todd, if we have companies that we use, do you want us to submit
Yes,
you those names?
That's kind of the thing. You know, different companies selling different products. Who knows what really best practices would be? I mean, I guess we.
I just didn't know if you wanted to do your own research or if you would like us to submit names that you can reach out to.
Anything you have.
And that goes industry-wide, so anybody out there can send you some information?
The more information I can get, the better.
Perfect.
I feel like.
Yeah, for all those listening, if you are buying cleanup materials, doing anything, please send your information to Todd, and let's try to gather it that way. And I know we can get it from the vendors that sell it,
Right.
you know, and then,
They're all still different products, you know. so-
right. And, you know, I'm not even concerned about best practices.
Right.
It just needs to be,
Right.
I
you know.
think everyone that's here and everyone that's listening, I mean, this is like a last-ditch effort to please let's get this fee set. We've been messing with this for a long time, several years. And so if you are doing cleanup, you have called in cleanup companies in your storage facility, please get those names and information to us so that we can move forward on this. I know everyone is tired of hearing about environmental fee. I know Charles is. I know all of us are. We just want to get done with this and move on and be more productive in what we're doing here. So please respond to that.
And to clarify the record, is that on the staff level, we have not just kind of been sitting back.
We
waiting
know
for it
that.
to happen.
We know
No,
that.
but just for the record.
thank you. Okay, we have, with that topic, we're going to agenda item J, discussion on new